Lineup and 3 times off the bench. Starts for the 6th time as well in the colours of the team of choice. John Maduka, the coach of Maritzburg United these days, after having moved across from Royal AM, as they made not only many playing changes but a coaching change as well. And Orlando Pirates with a new coach as well under Jose Ribeiro. Maritzburg United will start this match in 13th position on the table, but a victory will take them just below the top 8, while Orlando Pirates with the win will go back to the top of the standings. Some interesting results over the course of the weekend so far, and Maritzburg United playing from right to left will get us underway here. They play in the blue and white colours. Orlando Pirates defending the northern end of the Harry Gwala Stadium. They play in mostly white with a little flash of black here and there. It is going to be an interesting encounter to see how the 4 changes made after the cup game by Jose Ribeiro come into play. Bandidu Shando is always going to be a player that you'll rely on. He comes in and offers such a lot down the flanks for Orlando Pirates. Any team, Paseko Marco will do the same. Yeah. So they've got good flank play at Checo for this match. They also actually rejigged the midfield after the sending off against Royal AM of Goodman Mosele, who's a fine player in his own right, national team player as well. And we were speculating in the car on the way to Maritzburg from Durban who was going to take his place. Yeah. And I think you got that one spot on, mate.
And I think with the Orlando Pirates, you can see maybe that their strength now, it's more on those wing backs. They do have the players that can be able to play those positions, but also with Team. I think Team gives them that balance in that midfield now with the absence of Mosele. And with Shandu coming here to play against his former team as well. It will be a very interesting battle on this right-hand side where Sam is and Shandu is.
That's quite interesting, the switch and swap of players between different clubs in the Premier League in the first division as well, I suppose. But yes, you're right, Bandidu Shandu, former Maritzburg player, and as we said as well, Richard Ofori, the goalkeeper, Fortune Makaringe, also in the starting lineup, and then Bongani Sam going in the opposite direction. Spoke about a couple of times Bongani Sam last season was one of 2 players in the same match to score a goal for both sides.
And what's interesting as well about Sam this season, you can see he's slowly finding his form, and he's enjoying it game again. I think, you know, as a young player, especially at the age that he's in, he wants to play regularly.
That's a lovely ball played through here to Maliela Pule, and not that convincingly tucked away in defence by Brandon Turon. He's a good player, Brandon Turon. I don't think he quite read the flight of the ball there. No damage done, but he looks a bit nervous.
Yeah, sometimes as a defender you want to do safety first, and knowing also the speed of Orlando Pirates front 3, so you want to make sure that everything is clean and safe before.
There's a lovely ball by the Nigerian 24-year-old Olisa Ndad to release Maliela Pule. King and Global, a well-known name in South African football. Maybe he has some work to do, not on this occasion though. Easily tucked away though by the Maritzburg United defence. It was given Mashikinho, had the ball away first time, and then Pirates a lot of urgency early on, and already we're seeing the left and the right flanks.
Look, Kevin, I think, you know, the last couple of games of Orlando Pirates, the way they start with so much energy and aggression, and that's why they start getting all those early leads. And you can see also even today, that's the intention there.
1-0 against Swallows in the opening match, 1-1 draw against Stellenbosch FC. What's the corner? Again, it's knocked away from the danger zone, this time by Bongani Sam. The Pirates will stay on the attack. And very excited to see Nkosinathi Sibisi, the former Arrow centre-back, scored an absolute scorcher of a goal against Stellenbosch. Just arrived, like ghosted into the penalty area, absolutely thrashed it past the Stellenbosch goalkeeper. That match ended in a 1-1 draw. I think it was Mendieta who scored for the opposition. Well, they're conceding corners early on here, Maritzburg United. Nothing given away, though. That's Bongokosi Makume. And he's asking for a bit of calm in that penalty area. You haven't had a save from King and Globu, but 2 corners from Brandon Turon, 1 from Makume. Maritzburg United are being put under pressure.
Yeah, but also with Orlando Pirates, with the corners that they had, they are unable to bypass that first man. And I think they need to do better in terms of the safety, because they do have the numbers inside the box to try and trouble Maritzburg United.
Fans are still arriving in the stadium as the 3rd corner kick of the match goes the way of Pirates. It'll flick over from Pepra, and there's an opportunity just on the edge of the box. Great defending early on from Maritzburg United, and Fortune Makaringe unable to find the net against his former side.
Yeah, you could see there, he decided immediately that once he gets the opportunity to turn, he knew exactly the area where he was. There he used the laces there. You're expecting at least maybe to try and do a curler, but it is a very difficult shot to take.
Well, the early ball was picked up in front of him by Innocent Mayela. And then the shot from Makaringa, and already John Maduka feels as if he's under a bit of pressure. He's strategizing from the touchline. Maritzburg United are a dangerous side. They have got quality players, and if you're not careful, they can catch you on the counter. Opening match against Sekhukhune United was a 1-1 draw, then a heavy loss against Kaizer Chiefs in round 2. A couple of goalless draws thrown into good measure, and then a win against Chippa would have boosted the confidence, with Sambu and Sakuna both scoring in that encounter. And what a match we saw yesterday between Bafana Bastende and Chippa United. I mean, if it was ever an indication of a match with different successes in either half of the teams, it was quite incredible.
Yeah, that was incredible indeed. Game of two halves, where we saw also how Chippa performed in the second half. It was incredible to watch.
It's a lovely ball played through the middle here by Maritzburg United, and only a spot of great defending from Badile Shandu against his former side prevents Maritzburg United from causing problems. I just like that little touch on the inside and the flare down the flanks here from the team of choice.
I think on the left-hand side, I think that's their strongest side, where Sam Ace is enjoying himself. You sometimes have that combination with Sakuna or Kinguida as well, enjoying more on the left-hand side. I think that's where the game is for Maritzburg. Just sit back a little bit, absorb the pressure whenever they do have opportunities to pounce on the counter.
Yeah, I'm quite interested to see the 20-year-old Karim Kambuidi from the Democratic Republic of Congo, where he played for DC Motema Pembe. Starting for the 5th time today, and Yoti as well in the starting lineup today for just the 2nd time. 27-year-old former Celtic player, but he's got some football intelligence, and he does drive the midfield quite nicely. Maritzburg United just on the inside right channel. Free kick for Orlando Pirates, and quite happy to put their foot on the ball with Miguel Tim, who retains his place in the starting lineup and will start for the 5th time for the Buccaneers. And you know, that's I'm liking what I'm seeing from Miguel Tim this season. He's been around in a few clubs. Started with Amazulu, went to Chakuma in the 1st division, then Marumo Gallants up there in the Limpopo province. He's found himself with probably the biggest club he's played for in his career, and he's consolidating his midfield position.
And I think also you look at the players that he's surrounded with, very good quality players, and that can only improve you and make you a better player. And ever since he came to Orlando Pirates, playing every game, he's improving every game. And I think that's what you need, especially at the age that he is, being a player that moved around a lot.
It's a bright start here from Maritzburg United and Orlando Pirates. You say only the one victory for Maritzburg United. They played 3 times at home so far this season. They are unbeaten with 2 draws and that victory over Chippa United. Orlando Pirates unbeaten away from home because they lost their home match against Chippa United. It shows a little bit of unpredictability maybe in the early stages of the season. If you look at that Chiefs Galaxy victory against Mamelodi Sundowns, not to take anything away from Gavin Hunt's Supersport United's win on Friday night against the 5-time champions in a row. It's a little overhit from yet another corner from Orlando Pirates, number 4 in total, and only in the 9th minute. Drilling those balls into the penalty area. Good opportunity for Olisa Anta. Wasn't able to pull the trigger. And how long are Maritzburg United going to be able to contain Pirates in this sort of mood?
I think also conceding so many corner kicks and unable as well to defend those. I think they're putting themselves under pressure. They need to be able to play the lines very well, because once the Pirates get that momentum with those set pieces, they will cause problems for them.
It's been an interesting season so far for Jose Rivera, because he likes to score early and then consolidate and not concede. And it's going to be very interesting when he comes up against the likes of Kaizer Chiefs, maybe against Mamelodi Sundowns as well. Not to say that the teams he's come up against aren't capable of good results and good performances. I mean, played against Swallows. Stellenbosch FC had a great season last time around. Chipper upset the apple cart. Royal AM are a good side as well. They finished in the top 3. Supersport United finished in the top 8 as well. So they have come up against good opposition. They haven't come up against Chiefs and Sundowns yet. Cape Town City for that matter. That's a strong challenge from Tabang Bonare.
Yeah, it was a good call from the referee. It is a foul indeed. Got him there on the shin, luckily. But you know, that's what he brings, Tabang Bonare. He brings that bite in that midfield. And team, it brings the passes, the calmness. So they balance each other very well.
It's his 3rd start of the season. Tabang Bonare played once off the bench as well as a 32-year-old. Started his career with Brajay at Izinkosi, Jomo Cosmos. Opportunity for Sakuna. Oh, just a little touch in there would have made all the difference. I think Maritzburg United might have been offside anyway. But a lovely bit of intervention there. An invention from Thabo Malawisani. Maritzburg United have shown they're not going to be rolled over here today. They might have soaked up pressure. They might have conceded 4 corners in the opening 10 minutes. But they've shown twice now, particularly on this left-hand side, Checo, that they are going to pose a threat.
Yeah, and we spoke about that combination with Kimbuida and Sam on the left-hand side. They seem to enjoy and understanding each other, and whenever they're on the ball, you can also hear the crowd as well. They get excited because they know the talent that they have.
Going to be very sharp on the attack now. Over the top from Kimbuida. Good defending from Orlando Pirates in front of Richard O'Forey, because Amadou Sakuna had set his sights on the goal of the Buccaneers right there. I'm loving those little dink balls that they're playing around the box, Maritzburg United.
Yeah, also because you look at Orlando Pirates with those 3 centre backs, so there'll always be spaces in between to make sure that you play those balls just over the edge or just in between them for Sakuna to run onto.
Pirates dominating possession, 64% of it in fact in the opening 10-11 minutes of this encounter, heading up towards 12 minutes. Strong challenge from a man who was playing his football at the Academica under-23 team in Portugal. He's returned to South Africa. The 23-year-old picked up by Maritzburg United. His name's Janino Palace, playing as a holding midfielder here for Maritzburg today. Another unknown factor as far as South Africans are concerned, potentially. He has played most of the matches so far in his 5th start, once off the bench for the team of choice, Palace. Mashikinia with an important role to play. The captain's armband doesn't make it any easier, I suppose.
I think with his experience as well that he brings in that midfield, whenever they want those passes to be given to Theron, to Sam on those spaces, I think Mashikinya with his left foot, he'll be able to provide those passes as well. But then defensively, you can see they become 5 at the back, and it's also key in that midfield for Mashikinya to bring in Calais as well to make sure that they become solid.
Maritzburg United looking comfortable on the ball at the moment. Ball away by Kingman Global. Offside against the team of choice. Olisa Ndar has been a good injection into the centre-back structure of Orlando Pirates. Ball given away by Miguel Tim, rather unnecessarily, one would think. He's looking to make amends though in the midfield and might have committed himself a little too far forward if that ball had gotten away. Now there's a claim here by Vincent Pule, Maliela Pule, that he's been kicked in the knee. The referee's not interested in bringing play to a stop here. Chitise Maroping. Pirates for a moment have a player down, and it's just Matisse starting to get a bit rough out there.
Yeah, because you can see that Orlando Pirates, they felt that Pule was fouled and Maritzburg United player didn't kick out the ball, so that's why you see there is some sort of reaction. But also, we remember that Orlando Pirates don't have Mosele because of disciplinary issues, so they need to take care of that. So this is the foul that they're claiming. There you go, steps on his foot. Rightfully so. The referee was supposed to get that, they didn't. And now Orlando Pirates players were furious because they're trying to react on the player not kicking the ball out.
And he got his arm stood upon. Whether that was intentional or not, didn't look intentional, to be honest. But the youngster from the Democratic Republic of Congo goes down, Kimbuili, for a bit of medical attention. So a bit of a breaking play here while the fans outside of the stadium in the colours of the Buccaneers are celebrating. Still a couple of seats available, although I love the colour. The beating of the drum, the singing of the fans. It's a wonderful atmosphere here. And you can tweet us at Supersport TV using the hashtag #BabizABonke. Fans continue to crack into the Harry Gwala Stadium. Not quite a full house. By half-time, this place is going to be absolutely full to capacity. It's a fun afternoon. I'm actually loving these 5:30 games on a Sunday afternoon.
You can see that with all the numbers, the crowd that came in today, and this is also a seated also last football. It's interesting to see the numbers that we see these days.
The players that were involved in that little fracas, and it was Kimbuili who went over the top of the ball on Tamang Monare, and then there was revenge almost immediately for Orlando Pirates. It was almost as if it was a revenge attack on the youngster from the Democratic Republic of Congo. But seemed to be okay to continue. It's a lovely little turn on the inside here by Maritzburg United. Ball left by Malawisani. Pick up here by Miguel Tim, and then they're going in the wrong direction here with Vincent Maliela Pule. The fans love that little expression of football, don't they? There was nothing really in it.
Yeah.
The fans erupted.
Look, Kevin, you want the fans to be on your side, so a little bit of Shuganyana just to spice it up.
Tim loses possession down the middle. And come Maritzburg United, looking for that ball over towards Sukuna. Kimbuili struggling with power. Maybe too much power for Sukuna. Second ball for Nyoti. Lovely skill from Maritzburg United, and their fans are just as excited as those of the Buccaneers.
Now we see a little bit of skill there on the pitch. Mashikinya, show me your number. But then again, I think he wanted to play Theron. They didn't understand each other very well.
Yeah, Mashikinya is a regular. 7th appearance of the season today, 6 matches coming into this one. Oh, what a great intervention that was by Malawisani. Click on comes nicely from Bonkani Sam. Bonkani Sam's got a lot to offer here to the side of Maritzburg United. Right in front of Jose Ribeiro. It's asked to move back a couple of meters. Headed away by Olisanda. Pule gets a touch on it, but no damage done here. Makume, it's quite interesting for me because Makume and Mklongo are playing as centre-backs, but it's almost as if you've got Sam over on the left-hand side, and over on the left-hand side as well is the right-back Malawisani. So there's a lot of cover to be made over on the right-hand side of defence. But the left hand is looking maybe a bit unbalanced, but very strong.
Very strong lead on the left-hand side. And I think also on the right, because of you do have Theron and Sam that are playing as wing-backs. So whenever they're not in possession, that's when now it's so key for Palace to tuck in that hole as a central midfielder to help those three at the back to be able to shift around. Shonga as well can be able to shift and cover Sam on the left-hand side, Makume as well. So they work well, especially with these three at the back.
What is the situation for Jose Ribeiro if he doesn't get the early goal? Have a look at his formation.
Look, I think that their biggest challenge right now.
Lights have gone out, ladies and gentlemen, and bear with us for a while because we will have to wait until we have that rejuvenated. That's the story of where we are at the moment. So the players will go off the field of play for a moment, or they won't go off the field of play. They'll go to their respective dugouts for some strategic session. Before we have play back underway again, water being handed out to the players. Yes, As you heard from Loretta Bacho, it's toasty in Pietermaritzburg. I haven't seen much of Bienvenu Everengar actually on the Orlando Pirates side, because most of the plays come down the flank. So Everengar hasn't been able to latch onto the ball just yet, and that's one of the strengths of Maritzburg United, who've done nicely with Klongwa, Makume, Malawusani Sam, and Mashikinya.
And also it makes it very, very difficult for him to be able to play, because if you look at the three that are defending, when Maritzburg drops a little bit deeper, they can't allow those passes that needs to come to Evanga to be able to control. So, and probably maybe, you know, as the game progresses, Orlando Pirates needs to play with a little bit of speed, not allowing Maritzburg to start defending deep whenever they find those spaces, also to engage Evanga to making those runs.
Team manager from Orlando Pirates on the touchline with the match referee, Mr. Tidiso Maruping. I can tell you that it's a little darker here at Maritzburg Harry Gwala Stadium than it shows on your screen, and looking across at the far side, well, that's the main grandstand where our commentary box is stationed. It's absolutely beautiful.
It is beautiful indeed.
Just about everybody has their torches on their cellular telephones. Match commissioner speaking to the referees on the field of play. Have to wait for the floodlights to be put back on. And I can tell you that the lights in the commentary box have just come back on, so maybe slowly but surely we'll have the lights come back on the floodlight pylons. One of the floodlight pylons I can see from the com box has got the little red lights on top of it that are showing red at the moment, so the only one of the posts, not some of the others though. The fans enjoying themselves. Yeah, that pylon, those little red lights on top, an indication for incoming flight traffic to the airport that's not very far away from the Harry Gwala Stadium. So they need to be aware of the structures. And on a couple of pylons they switched on, and a couple of others they're not. But the lights in our commentary box are switched on. Maybe the Supersport generator has come to our rescue, but it hasn't come to the rescue of the stadium, who've got a bit of work to do here. Not quite sure if it's a KwaZulu-Natal thing. We have had these sort of problems in other parts of the country, but remember during Kasafa at the Kingswell Stadium there were problems, and I think there was a match that was delayed for a while down there as well. Richards Bay, maybe Marumo, that was also delayed. The kickoff was delayed for 20 minutes or so because the floodlights weren't behaving either.
Yeah, and especially with the Kasafa, remember one half was very dark and then the other one was bright, so luckily for us at that time the ball was always played on the lights.
Let's hear what Lorato has for us down pitch side.
Well, thank you very much, commentary team. Yes, I had an opportunity to talk to the match commissioner, and that is Mr. Shalim Salon, and he's saying that it usually takes about 5 to 10 minutes for the lights to kick back on. So right now, as it stands, since the power went off, he's saying that we're round about needing 5 more minutes, and then he will then talk to the home team to decide what is the way forward should the lights not be back. So in about 5 minutes, we should have another update in terms of what will happen if the floodlights do not come on here at the Harry Gwala Stadium. Yes, both teams have went into the change rooms right now, and after just talking to the coaches as well, and a lot of the fans as well, the supporters as well right now do have their phones out with the flashes, just trying to bring a bit of light to the stadium as it stands. So right now we're into that 5-minute window that the match commissioner was talking about. So after that, we should have a way forward in terms of what could possibly happen with this game. And of course, they will be expecting the floodlights to come back on. As they said, that the generator usually takes about 5 to 10 minutes to kickstart before the lights will come on. I will come back and give you an update.
It's a floodlight failure at the Herigwala Stadium, but the spirits and the mood still very much up when it comes to the fans, and so many of them there. We're just discussing it, Amanda. Beautiful scenes, just looking at the support. So many fans heading in. There were many that were still making their way into the venue. They've got a couple of minutes now. Should the situation be rectified?
Yeah, the turnout is just so great to come and watch and support these two teams. And we know Maritzburg, whenever they're in action down at Herigwala, there's always just support. But to see the turnout like this is quite impressive. And I think this stop and start is certainly going to allow the latecomers to settle down a bit. And hopefully the intensity, like we've seen Orlando Pirates really dominating, can really carry on. But also just the fans are here to be entertained. So we're hoping that we can carry on with the game and that the fans can be entertained.
The stop and start, how does that affect the players?
Look, Carol, it affects the momentum, and it breaks it in the sense that you have to restart again. And to get your team to get back to that mindset that they were in, it takes a lot. At times they switch off, and at times it's actually an opportunity for you if your team hadn't started the way you wanted them. To just get the moment to actually awaken them. So it has two ways where it can switch through. So I think with how Paris would have started, this really is a setback for them because they had the momentum. Yeah. So they would have wanted to continue on that stage.
Yeah, they definitely did. I mean, we're talking about so many of the fans that had turned out. We're talking, the wonderful support Maritzburg United enjoys, but the majority of the fans there supporting the Buccaneers, and it's because they really have hit a rich vein of form, and it seemed like it was going to continue, most certainly, with this game, judging from the opening exchanges.
Yeah, and I think this is what Pirates are all about this season, always hoping to break into the score sheet, mostly in the between 15 minutes, 10 and 15 minutes, they always want to get that first goal. And you can just see the amount of pressure that they've been applying on Maritzburg. Even just in the 5th minute of the game, they already ordered 2 corners. So it's just that intensity, and hope that maybe Maritzburg can breathe a bit, because indeed their backs were on the ropes.
Well, it seems as if, 5 minutes been given to see if the situation can be rectified. It's looking hopeful at the moment. Now, this is where Maritzburg United would have seen just how intense Orlando Pirates were in terms of how they started. So now they're starting to ask themselves questions now. It's an opportunity for them to rectify things.
Of course, Carol. And I think the other advantage is that the game would have started earlier. So it still gives you enough time to really remedy the situation and make sure that once the lights come back, there's still sufficient time for the game to be played, So we just hope that the situation will get rectified soon. But coming back to that Maritzburg question, I think the coach will then say, guys, this is what Paris have applied this far, and this is what they would have picked up. How then do you rectify it and also get the team to respond? Because at this point in time, you'd really want Maritzburg to respond, because they haven't responded this far. They've been on the receiving end for the better part of the first half. So hopefully they'll be able to make some few adjustments to their setup.
Yeah. Do they have those players to respond, Maritzburg United? Because, we mentioned the starting lineup, and just looking at those 2 changes, of course, from what transpired against Royal AA. Do they have quickly the players to change?
I think they do, Carol. The biggest responsibility now is to protect the ball, because Pirates are dominating much of the ball possession. On the turnovers, they need to protect the ball. Just a quick transition, the precision in the passes, and if it is that they need to absorb the pressure, get back in the block and absorb the pressure until you get the break. But at the moment, they want to go full force, and the turnovers are just not in their favor at this point.
Yeah, no, of course, I agree there with Amanda, and I think as we're building up back to it, we should be able to pick up from the areas that we've highlighted.
All right, so the situation seems rectified, definitely looking so. So back to the action at the Herigwala Stadium, a packed Herigwala Stadium, man, we love to see it.
Well, we welcome you back to the Harry Gwala Stadium. Just a little bit of a break there while the floodlights went walkabouts, but they're back. Generated power this time instead of with a grid, and that looked like a handball immediately from Bienvenu Everengar to start the restart. It's not half time yet, but a couple of minutes in to the encounter. Talk about Bienvenu. Had a fabulous season for Chippa United. Scored 10 goals. He just banging them in all over the place. And he was always going to be a target for one of the big sides. He's a big fella, he's the Cameroonian. He can score goals. He scored one already this season in the very opening match of the win against Swallows FC. In this match so far, he's been rather isolated, I think. And you've got to give a lot of credit to the Klongwas and Makumes and Mashikinyas and company, who've really been able to bottle up Everengar so far.
Look, they know how dangerous he is. And also the way they structured as well from defensively, Maritzburg, they make things a little bit difficult for him to find space in and around the box. So the best thing that Orlando Pirates should be doing is play a little more quicker before Maritzburg organize and use Everengar to play in those spaces, make the passing the balls that way he needs to make runs.
I suppose it's one of the benefits of having a break like this. Not that we want to see that every game you play, but I mean, sometimes in the heat of the day when there's 40-degree temperatures, there are the water breaks. Shooting ball pinned into the penalty area, goes just behind Fortune Makaringe. Miguel Tim consolidating there with Tabang Munare. Munare is going to have to do a bit of a pickup here, but this is Kambuidi, a little bit ambitious, I thought, with the first ball in towards Sukuna.
You can see, Kevin, how dangerous Maritzburg is. They sit back a little bit. Once they get the ball, they want to use the Kuna because Orlando Pirates are playing that high line. They need to be very careful. And also Ofori as well. Once Orlando Pirates in possession, just come and play super keeper.
Just getting back to that point about the water breaks on very hot days. That comes into play halfway through the first half and halfway through the second half as you have a look at this foul that was perpetrated on Maliela Pule. He's been a bit of a target today, almost like the winger that we saw from in the match yesterday between Golden Arrows and Chippa United. But yeah, the water break in the middle of the game gives an opportunity for a coach to assess his tactics up to that stage and then change them. And maybe, fortuitously or not, the same will apply today. Everengar when he's back to goal. Still an opportunity though for Bajili Shaku. Makaringe. He's tidied up rather nicely by Molowisani.
Great defending there from Maritzburg United. I think with Everengar, the ball being played in by Marco, just played a little bit back. He couldn't control it very well, but look at the tackle there, making sure that, you know, Makaringa doesn't get a cross in.
Five corners to nothing. Saw Chippa United yesterday with 6 corners to nothing, and although they had a great second half, in my opinion, the Dane Plate, they lost that match against Abafana Bestende by 3 goals to 2, scoring the only 2 goals of the second half. Pirates have all 5 corners so far. Maliela Pule, still in swing here. The punch away by King and Klobu. Pick up again by Pule. Little cut inside, and that's nicely stroked away by Sukuna. Ofori, keeper sweeper. No Dion Hotto today, wide on the left.
No Hotto today, and I think also it gives Mark an opportunity as well, because I think he had a fantastic game the other day when they were playing at Orlando Stadium. He gave them so much going forward. He also created a goal, and I think, you know, this type of a system as well suits him very well when he's comfortable going forward.
Absolutely. Everybody over the halfway line except the keeper for Pirates. Maliela Pule again trying to dribble their way into the area. He's injured himself again. Pule down, not for the first time, and I think potentially that the injury's picked up now as we pause that for a moment, because Kim Buidi is on his way through towards the edge of the penalty area. Gets a second ball as well, does the man from the Congo. And the ball will be stroked off the field of play to give Maliela Pule some respite here. Now, I'm not quite sure whether that's an aggravation of the injury he picked up a little earlier, because while the challenge might have been taking place at his foot, if you've got your foot either grounded or in the air and you get a knock against the foot, it does have a ricochet action into the knee and sometimes even into the hip.
Yeah, I think also, you know, I saw him as well after trying to play the ball out wide, and he wanted to jog, then he stopped again because I could see that he was feeling something. And this is also a player that stayed a long time with an injury. He just started to be back this season. Started to play regular football. And Orlando Pirates, I'm sure they'll be hoping that it's not something serious.
It's a true story. He had a ruptured thigh, and he only played 6 times for Pirates last season, 5 in the starting lineup, once off the bench. And so far this season, it's his 5th appearance today. We hope it doesn't end in tears again for a very, very talented midfielder. He's getting on a bit. He's 32 years old now, former Bitsman. It's not a good sight, and it is again in the thigh area, that quadriceps muscle here. I'm not sure if it's the same leg as the ruptured thigh that kept him out of the game for so long, but that will be a concern, I think, for not only Pule but for the medical staff of Pirates. So let's have a look as to who's on the bench that can potentially come on and take his place.
I think the only natural player that can actually play that position very well, I think, is Damini.
Yeah.
We've seen him playing very well in that position, and I think maybe that's a possible swap.
Absolutely, I have to agree with you as Makaringa comes forward. Now it's Stepan Munare. Bienvenue. It's good play by Makaringa. Holds onto the ball beautifully. Gets a round of applause from the Pirates fans. Looking out the combox window, I can see the stretcher bearing Maliela Pule going down the touchline. I'm not quite sure if he's going to be on the start list for too much longer. And I wouldn't be surprised at all if it is the 26-year-old former Celtic midfielder Cabello Glamini who's going to join him. Yeah, looking out the combox window, Pule is going down the tunnel. So Pirates for the moment down to 10. Miguel Tim. Another good solid challenge in there from Maluisani. A rather unfortunate end to a promising match. I mean, he had some really good touches.
And he gave them so much going forward as well. The fans loved him. And it's unfortunate to see that injury.
Very surprising. Are you surprised? Zach Lepasa?
I'm very surprised.
Me too. So who changes the position then? Is Zach Lepasa then come in and play that role? Obviously, Jose Ribeiro has a lot of confidence in Zach Lepasa. Played twice in the starting lineup, twice off the bench so far for the Buccaneers. I think his most famous moment, the goal that he scored for TX Galaxy in the cup final against Kaiser Chiefs down at Moses Mapida Stadium a couple of seasons ago, as TX Galaxy won the Nedbank Cup as the first division side. Zach Lepasa will come on here. For Pule, it's going to be very interesting to see where he positions himself. Shandu's in space here, away by Bongani Sam, who spotted the danger from the former Maritzburg United player, and that's the sort of runs he's made, though maybe with a bit more pace, because on that occasion he sort of ambled up towards the area.
Yeah.
But we've seen him in CAF Confederation Cup where he starts on the halfway line, suddenly makes that little beeline at 45 degrees towards the edge of the penalty area and inside it. It's such a dangerous play. He's got such a lot of capacity for football in his head.
That's true, Kevin. And with the right ball, it's very difficult to defend it because he comes with so much speed. And also the defender, because you're watching the ball most of the time, most of the defenders, they're not even aware as to look for the run and take. And I think also that's why he scored so many goals, because that run was very effective for him. But then again, you're playing against them that knows, that have seen those runs at training.
Orlando Pirates down to 10 men with the injury to Maliela Pule. And they can't make the substitution, Pirates, until the ball's gone out of play. And it hasn't for quite some time. But in that time, Pirates haven't been able to do much about the time on the ball either. Kimbuili, touching there from Palace, wide by Flongwa. Stroking the ball around Maritzburg United, looking for that little gap where they can make those darting runs from Sukuna. And there it comes as well, Sukuna. Nice little challenge on CBC. Now there is an opportunity for Pirates to get back to full strength, and Zach Lepasa come on for Maliela Pule. And immediately comes onto the right-hand side and has a little chase down the pitch to warm up his hamstrings. Good play here by Bongani Sam. Skillful player Sam, nice touch from Shandu. That's an interesting competition from players that will know each other rather nicely, I think.
Yep. think we're going to see more of that today. And also, you know, with Sam that comes into this game, having a great season, rather, he will try and play, you know, his normal game, especially against the person that knows him very well.
Pepper under a little bit of pressure. Kimbuini, ball into the middle. Second ball, it was a bit of moment of hesitation from both sides. Finally, the ball goes wide here. This is Nyotti. He's been hustled out of that area. That's good work done by Orlando Pirates, who suddenly have the wind in their sails, and the passer down the left-hand channel. So I wonder if he's going to play down the left, and Makaringa will come across onto the right, leaving Bienvenu as the striker, and continuing with that formation of three up front.
Yep, they will continue with that three up front, but you know, Lepasa being initially a striker, don't be surprised when the balls are on the side to find him inside the box, so he'll add on to that. But yet again, defensively, it's going to be required as well to do his defensive duties, especially on the left hand side. Yeah, here's the fouls again. You can see that the referee got it right. I think it was a pull and also stepped on, I think, on his ankles.
Nyotti all over the back of Paseko Marco. Marco had that big injury with the goalkeeper, wasn't it? And he seems to have his confidence back and playing nicely without injury. It was a horrific moment in the game of South African football.
And also you could see in his face as well that he still has the scar. So that shows you how big that injury was. And at the time it happens, he was on top of his game.
No, he was playing phenomenally. I just want to make a point that you made yesterday about the wing play, and we don't want to bang on it for too long, but how important the wing play is, and you saw that from Chipper United yesterday. Let's have a look at Marco making those runs again tidied up by Makume, and yes, the defensive Maritzburg United is playing fairly high line, sort of halfway inside their half, and they're doing nicely to cut out the attacks coming from Orlando Pirates from that part of the pitch. But just to illustrate what you're talking about with the introduction of Zach Lepasa, now he plays as a striker. He's used to being a striker. He's scored goals as a striker. And if he's going to play out on the left-hand side, the temptation to move into the middle, how does that change the formation of Maritzburg United to defend him, and how does it blunt the wing play from Orlando Pirates?
I think from the wing play, I think Marco can always occupy that width, because he's an extra left footer on the side. He can always bring the crosses in. But I think from Lepasa, I think it will be like when Pirates are in position, he's going to be like, they look like a true striker between him and Evanga. So therefore then, Shongo and Makume, they're the ones that are going to pick them up. So they might even change the striker to go back to 4-4-2.
I was going to ask as well, does Pirates then have a preference to play down the right-hand side of attack to Bangmonare and, well, Pule is not there anymore, but play down the right-hand side and then allow two strikers to be in the middle of the penalty area. Well, there's another big collision in the middle of the park. It's the Bangmonare. We were just talking about him. He's got a bit of a headache. Looks like it's the youngster from the Democratic Republic of Congo, Kimbuini, who's down injured as well. That's Palace.
And we saw so many had incidences like this in yesterday's game as well. One of the players, Sibia, was substituted because of that. We just hope as well that today we'll just get a nice clean game where nobody, like we've just seen also Pule being substitution because of an injury, and also that also affects the team as to how you want to play as a coach.
Play back underway with the dart going back to Richard Ofori. Been by far the quieter of the two goalkeepers today. King of Globe has had a couple of punches. He's faced 6 corner kicks in the match so far in the first half. Richard Ofori yet to make a save of any great significance. It's not to say that Maritzburg United haven't launched attacks of their own, because they are starved of possession. And when they do use it, they've got to be clever about it. Use the wings, get somebody running off an angle through the middle, and use counter-attack football to great effect. It's the only option they really have.
And also you look at their strong side, which is their left. On the right-hand side, they haven't found a really clear balance. Theron hasn't been into the game, but defensively, it's helping them to come back and defend. So probably maybe in the second half, Maritzburg will be looking to get more balance between the width.
Shikuna with a touch. It's a really good first ball as well from Nyotti. Nyotti through the middle! Before he does make a save before half-time.
daunting run in there from Sekuna, coming in between there. And I think Ofori here too, that he hasn't been making saves. There he is coming into the game. I think you look at the flick there, he's also following Sekuna. He's the one that flicked the ball, making that run again. Sibi unable to defend him, but yet again, easy save there from Ofori.
We were illustrating that exact point a few moments ago with those little angled runs on the counter-attack. And Sekuna is exceptionally quick, and Njoti seems to be as well. And liking the way they turn away from the opponents, Maritzburg United, when they close down. Ghani Sam talking about being closed down. Molovisani leaves the ball for Makume, and then we'll have an opportunity on the second ball. Not going to work that one behind Shandu with too many times, but there's a second ball here for Kimbuidi. We are in stoppage time, 10 minutes added on for the time that the floodlights are off. So another 10 minutes before half time. Now Bienvenu is able to stretch his legs here. Can he find the pass to Lupasa? Well, not quite what he was hoping for. Nobody really, Makaringa should have been driving down the middle. As soon as that run came from Bienvenu on the flank, Makaringa should have been near the penalty spot.
That's true, Kevin. As soon as that touch from Evanga, as an attacking midfielder, as a striker, you need to make that run, pass inside the box, and hope that your partner will be able to see you. And I think because of less numbers inside the box, we were able to punish Maritzburg.
It's a good little run from Bienvenu. I didn't realise that the big fella had that much acceleration. It's nice to see.
He can move.
Tehran into Njoti, who's been quite impressive today. Sabisi will protect Ofori. Brendan Tehran, one of the players that stayed at Maritzburg United. Lots of new signings coming into the team of choice. Elisa Ndar. You just joined us on your World of Champions this evening, round 6 of the DSTV Premiership, and you wonder why there are 10 minutes of time added on. Well, we had a floodlight failure from the grid, and the generator took a little bit of time to get itself organized, and but we're back underway, and hence the additional 10 minutes. Not really an additional, only as far as the clock is concerned. The players went into a huddle with their respective coaches, and I'm not quite sure if we've seen a change in tactics, because sometimes, you know, having seen half an hour of the game, you know, Coach John Maduka and Jose Ribeiro would have perhaps made a couple of little technical and positional changes. I don't think we've really seen too much of a change in the structure from either side.
No, we haven't seen much, but maybe that also gave the coaches an opportunity to pass on information and remind the players as well, what is it that that team needs to do. Because yes, that run again, look at the touch there. You're expecting another midfielder to be able to come and help as well, but as a striker as well, inside the box, 1v1, you can try at something, then try and shimmy, and you can see that the angle as well was too close for Lapasa to get the ball.
But what we were discussing earlier on when Lapasa came onto the field of play, and Woody had the striker's instincts and pull more in, and he seemed almost confused as his role. So he stays wide as a winger. In that opportunity, he might have been in the penalty area along with the advancing, attacking midfield of Makaringe. And it's a perfect opportunity to score a goal from. And I think Pirates missed a trick there.
Yeah, I think he should have went with his natural instinct. You could see that he wanted to be inside the box and as a striker, goal.
Yeah, I think he's got to think about it in half time, about his positioning and his positioning when the ball is not near him, when he's off the ball, and the ball's wide on the other side of the field. He's got to think about his positioning and what his intention. Of course, we don't know what the coach is expecting.
Of course.
So we're just talking from a point of view of our analysis.
Yeah, but also as a striker, that's what you want. When you're not in position of the ball, your mind should be, where can I find space in and around the box? And I think probably with the conversation that we'll have at halftime.
Ghani Sam once again gets over the halfway line. He's a terrific, versatile player. Palace, Kimbuidi. Look at the space available in the middle of the park here. He'll step on the ball as well from Gibbon Mashikinia, and then the space available for Ghani Sam. Able to whip the ball in as well. Tehran will arrive a little bit late, but enough to force the first corner of the match for the team of choice. They have to stay focused, Orlando Pirates. They might be dominating as far as possession is concerned. We saw a graphic earlier on where Orlando Pirates have 2/3 of the possession. But an opportunity here for Yotti. The voices of the fans get louder. Punched away by Richard Ofori. No second ball though for Maritzburg United. The referee spotting a little bit of naughtiness inside that penalty area from the attacking side.
Ofori don't make that's a foul. The push just after Ofori just punched the ball. I think that's the area that you want the goalkeeper to dominate. His big body, and just make sure that you clean out. Don't concede on corner kicks. Because remember, the game that they lost against Chipa, they conceded on a set piece.
Absolutely. Now Evan Gar, 14 possession, both players going down with an injury. Forward by Mashikinya. Offside flag stays down. Good defending from Ntado. Sakuna's a tough man. Oh, Sakuna! That's brilliant! Keeps the defenders guessing. They think he's going to pass. High corner.
It's clever there, Sakuna, being able to use, the defender as a shield to try and protect the ball. Look at the daunting run, the runs that he's been making since the game started. But here he decided that he wanted to create that angle for himself. But yet again, he knew that Ndao would open his legs, trying to squeeze it here in the first goal. A great save there from Ofori.
Yeah, you've got to give to the Ghanaian goalkeeper as well. I mean, it was a quality piece of football all around. It's going to be a corner for Maritzburg United. Sakuna with just the 1 goal so far this season, came in a 2-1 victory over Chippa United. Samu grabbed the other. And Samu making way for Sakuna in this encounter after the loss against Royal. On Wednesday, the 24th of August. Not that one, that one. Both struggling with maybe a foot over the ball. But when play resumes, it's going to be the second corner of the game for Maritzburg United. Already had nearly 7 of the 10 minutes that were added on. And Yotti again with the delivery. Flapped away by Richard Ofori. I don't think it was that convincing, but the angle was perfect. And Tehran thinks he's won a corner. He has won a corner.
And I think the goalkeepers as well, sometimes it's so difficult to run in between that crowd because you need to make sure, you need to be very decisive to touch that ball, because once it doesn't, it's also always looks bad, especially when you hit the ball back on the goalkeeper.
Talking about looking bad, this is certainly not looking good. Zakle Pasa came on before Maliela Pule, who picked up an injury. And aggravated it, and now in his 5th appearance, his 3rd as a substitute, Zakle Pasa seems to just be struggling a little bit, and now injury's going to take their toll for Pirates. Don't forget it's not as long a season as they've had in the past, because they're not playing Confederation Cup football this time around. Finished 6th in the DCB Premiership last season. Yoshi again with the delivery, and again there's a punch. Not emphatically enough though. And I tell you what, Mashikinya and company were very, very close for the second ball. It's an injury here to Sipisi.
Joti there delivering a very dangerous ball, makes it difficult for Orlando Pirates to be able to defend. Look at the in-swing of a lot of bodies around. There's Sipisi putting his body there, saving it. But I think it's always going to be the challenge with those in-swingers, especially if they played in that position with so much power. And I think Ofori did well there to try and cover that area.
Team doctor encouraging Zakle Pasa to get back onto the field of play. They have to change things up a lot. They do have Toboko Klolani, who's an attacking midfielder. Ben Moshwari is a defensive midfielder, which might release Chabang Manari a little further forward. But if Lapasa went off, I think Pirates would really have a bit of a gap in their attacking formation.
Yeah, because you need somebody probably maybe with speed, like you rightfully say. I think Sholane will probably be able to give them that. Or Dlamini rather, maybe more in that midfield role in between the lines. He's clever on the ball, he can shoot outside the box. So they do have options on the bench.
Yeah, I did forget about Dlamini for a moment. Thanks for the reminder, Mr. Modisa. The referee is going to have a little chat here to a couple of players. Looks like Molowisani's in trouble. So for that matter is Bienvenu Eva and Gar. I don't think it's been a bad match so far. There was a little stretch where there was a bit of antagonism. The injury to Maliela Pule. Bandile Shandu. Such a lot of quality about this man. Bienvenu now. Oh, it's a lovely ball. The defender ducks out of the way. And that must be the epitome of great communication. Oh, they got away with something.
And I think it was great communication there from Ndlovu, being able to command that space, call for keeper early on because you can see that you're in a position to pick up the ball. But yet again, you saw Lepasa inside the box. Those are the instincts as a striker. Evan Gars putting on the cross, be a striker, be the second striker, get inside the box. That's where you score goals.
Yeah, I'm happy for him to be doing that. Well, the 10 minutes added on by Mr. Maruping must be just about at an end. I can't imagine we'll have too much play before half-time. And whistles in his mouth, and referee who's refereeing in his third T2B Premiership match of the season will bring this to an end. And it's going to be interesting to see what Jose Rivero does. No early goal for Orlando Pirates today, Teco.
Yeah.
And how did the tactics change in the second half from the Buccaneers?
And I think with Pirates, I think in the second half, they'll try and start the way that they started. A lot of energy, a lot of aggression. Try and get a lead early on to be able to control the tempo of the game. But yet again, they need to be aware of that counter-attacking play from Maritzburg United.
Pirates losing Maliela Pule and bringing on Zantle Pasa in the first half. We had a floodlight failure as well. Plenty of action on the pitch too, but neither team able to score a goal. It's 0-0 in Maritzburg. It's half-time.
Who likes top-notch things. I know where to get nice things at a nice price. That's why ngivele ngithi shwi eMcDonald. Ngithi quarter deluxe wabanjani. Hey, madoda, imnandi lento. Nazo.
Get the quarter deluxe regular meal for only $49.90. A deal for the smart spender. Nazo.
Upgrade to the awesome new Samsung Galaxy A53 5G. Available at participating retailers. Awesome's what we're doing.
At Spur, we start cooking your ribs so long before you order them, you'd swear we knew you were coming. We start with Spur seasoning, a 24-hour marinade and a slow cook until they're good and tender. Finally, our master griller flame sears all that